Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're getting right into a huge UEFA Europa League semi-final first leg. It's Tottenham Hotspur against Bodoglimt.
Yeah, May 1st, 2025, Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Big night.
Absolutely. The final's on May 21st, and it's either Athletic Bilbao or Manchester United waiting for the winner, so the stakes are massive.
Definitely. We're talking a major European trophy, plus, that all-important Champions League spot.
Exactly. So let's unpack this matchup. Tottenham versus Bodoglimt. What should we expect?
Well, first off, it's interesting because this is actually the first time they'd ever met in Europe.
Oh, really? First time. That adds a bit of spice, doesn't it?
It does. An unknown quantity for both sides, really.
Though Tottenham do have a perfect record against Norwegian teams, don't they? Lyn Oslo, Tromsø.
They do, yeah. 4 wins, scored, 17 goals. Pretty dominant historically.
You'd think that gives them a bit of a mental edge.
Maybe. But then you look at Bodoglimt against English sides. Arsenal, Man United, it hasn't been pretty for them.
Ah, right. 3 losses, conceded quite a few goals.
8 goals conceded in those 3 games, yeah. So it cuts both ways, that history.
Okay, let's talk Spurs' current situation, their Premier League season. Well, it's been tough.
Uh-huh. Really tough. 16th place, is it? 19 losses already?
Yeah, including that 5-1 defeat to Liverpool that actually crowned them champions. Ouch.
Oof, yeah. And then they lost to Nottingham Forest recently, too, even after resting some players, apparently.
So consistency is definitely a question mark.
It is. But their Europa League form is kind of the opposite story, isn't it?
Right. Unbeaten in the last 6 in this competition.
4 wins, 2 draws, came through the league phase, beat AZ Alkmaar, then Eintracht Frankfurt.
That Solanke penalty against Frankfurt, that was huge. Kept the dream alive.
Absolutely massive moment. But their home form in Europe, it's a bit weird.
How so? They've won 3 of the last 4 at home, haven't they?
They have, yeah, but both teams scored in 3 of those games.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
So maybe a bit vulnerable defensively even at home?
Potentially. It hints at something Bodoglimt could look to exploit,
But their strengths, attacking-wise, Spurs have some serious firepower. League leaders in shots, touches in the box.
Yeah, the stats are impressive. Solanke's been fantastic, goals and assists.
And Lucas Bergvall. He's added a spark, hasn't he? Real creativity.
He really has. Plus, you've still got Kulusevski, Madison. They can hurt anyone on their day.
And that home advantage has to count. You mentioned Opta's prediction earlier.
Yeah, the supercomputer gives them a 58.5% chance of winning this first leg. That's pretty significant.
It is. And look, with the league campaign going the way it is, this Europa League, it's everything for them now, isn't it?
Pretty much. Best shot at a trophy, only realistic route back to the Champions League, you'd think.
So the focus should be absolute. Plus, that perfect record against Norwegians and Bodoglimt have suspensions.
Yeah, all that should boost their confidence going into this one.
But there are worries. Son Heung-min. He might be out. Foot injury.
That would be a massive blow if he can't play. And Radu Dragusin is out for the season, isn't he?
Yeah, defense looking a bit thin there.
Definitely. And like we said, defensively, 2 clean sheets in 6 Europa League home games, conceded 12 overall.
That Liverpool game really exposed them, even if the Forest result was different.
Yeah, it shows they can be got at.
And what about this talk of Ange ball becoming predictable? Is that fair?
Well, some pundits are saying that. Initially it was all dynamic, high press.
Right, really exciting stuff.
But maybe lately it's been a bit, easier to figure out. Could be a factor.
So, key players for Spurs then. Obviously, Solanke for the goals.
Absolutely. Bergvall's creativity, that majesty on the ball, someone called it. He'll be vital, especially against a potentially weakened midfield.
And Pedro Porro, those runs from fullback.
Yeah, he could cause real problems down that flank.
Okay, let's flip it. Bodoglimt, how are they looking?
Domestically, much better. Second in the Elite Syrian, game in hand, just won 3-1.
And they rescheduled their league game, didn't they? To prepare for the second leg.
They did, yeah. Smart move. Gives them a full week off before Spurs travel to Norway.
That's a big advantage for leg 2.
Yeah.
But their Europa League journey, quite something.
It really has been. Came 9th in the group, but beat Porto, Braga. Then got past Twente, Olympiacos.
And Lazio, that was dramatic. Extra time equalizer, penalty shootout.
Showed real character, real resilience. Helmerson with the late goal.
But that away form in the knockouts, that looks worrying.
It's the big red flag, isn't it? Lost at Man United, Arsenal, Lazio. Conceded 7 goals across those 3.
And only one away win in Europe all season.
Yeah, and that was against 10-man Braga. Not a great record on the road.
Still, they can score goals. 27 in 14 Europa League games is impressive.
Very impressive. Kasper Høgh's been the main man, 7 goals.
And they've got others who can chip in. Saltness, Høgh.
Exactly. Plenty of attacking flair there.
Yeah.
And they can cause upsets. Remember Roma?
Oh yeah, the 6-1. Wow. So they won't be intimidated.
No way. And nuts and tactics, that 4-3-3, the movement, they apparently cover more ground than Spurs.
That high energy could disrupt Tottenham. Plus, first Norwegian team ever in a major European semi. Huge motivation.
Massive. And that rest advantage for the second leg, we can't forget that.
But the suspensions for this first leg, that sounds serious.
It's a huge blow for them, yeah. Captain Patrick Berg, key midfielder, he's out.
And Evgen in attack. Helmerson off the bench.
All suspended. Losing Berg in midfield is particularly damaging, you'd think.
Are there injury worries too?
Could be. Doubts over Bjortoft at center back, Blumberg on the wing. Squad could be stretched thin.
And that record against English teams. 0 wins, 3 losses. Makes it look tough for them in London.
Yeah, it really stacks up against them for this first leg. You might even see, more fouls from that makeshift midfield. Maybe more cards.
Interesting thought. So, key players for them tonight. Has to be Høgh up front.
Definitely. He's their goal threat. With Berg out, Ulrik Saltnes needs a massive game in midfield creativity, leadership.
And the keeper. Høgh.
He'll likely be busy. Needs to be on top form.
Okay, let's get tactical. How do you see Spurs setting up?
Probably the usual 4-2-3-1 under Postecoglou. Lots of attacking fluidity. Bergvall, Madison pulling the strings.
Feeding Kulusevski, Solanke, maybe Son if he's fit, or Tell.
Possibly.
Yeah.
And expect those fullbacks, Pora and Udogi, to bomb forward, try and exploit any weakness out wide.
High press too, you'd think. Try and overwhelm that depleted Bodoglimt midfield.
Yeah, try and get on top early, build a decent lead to take to Norway. That seems the logical approach.
And Bodoglimt, how do they counter that?
Well, Knutson usually likes his 4-3-3 pace, movement. But those suspensions force his hand.
So, relying more on Brunstead, Fett, Sultanese in the middle.
Got to, yeah. They'll look for Høgh to hold it up, maybe hit Spurs on the break. Høgh and Stjovold on the wings need to provide that outlet.
Might be a bit more cautious, though, given the circumstances.
You'd expect so. Maybe try and slow the game down, stay compact, frustrate Spurs, keep the tie alive.
Key battles, then. Midfield seems crucial. Bergvall versus Saltnes.
Yeah, that's huge for dictating the flow. Then up front, Solanke trying to get the better of Gunderson.
And Poro against Høgh down the flank. That could be fun to watch.
Definitely. Lots of pace and attacking intent there.
Right. Predictions. We mentioned Opta giving Spurs a high chance. What else are people saying?
Well, The Athletic expects a comfortable Spurs win. They think over 2.5 goals is likely. Maybe Spurs win and both teams score.
Okay, citing those suspensions in away form for Bodoglimt.
Exactly. The Standard also sees Spurs in control, predicting 2-1, again pointing to the weakened visitors.
Seems like a common theme.
It is. NBC Sports agrees, leans towards a home win. Squawka thinks it could be high scoring, maybe 3-1 Spurs.
3-1. Interesting. Football.London.
They see Spurs having the edge in the first leg because of the suspensions, maybe 2-0. They do note Bodoglimt's second leg advantage, though.
And the Guardian.
Favorites Tottenham, Solanke key, but they add a note of caution, don't write Bodoglimt off completely.
Okay, so the general feeling is definitely leaning towards Tottenham for this first leg.
Overwhelmingly so, yeah. Home advantage, Bodoglimt suspensions, and poor away records seem to be the deciding factors for most.
And just recapping that other context, Bodoglimt get that full week's rest before leg 2.
Big advantage, Spurs have West Ham in between.
But Spurs avoided major suspensions themselves, right? So injuries aside, it's close to full strength.
Pretty much. Son and Dragusin, the main worries. And you expect a packed, loud stadium at Spurs.
Limited away fans, probably. Okay, so prediction time. Let's bring it all together.
It feels like Tottenham's attack at home against a team missing key players, they should have too much.
Yeah, Solanke, Bergvall, Kulusevski, they should create chances. Bodoglimt's away record against English teams is stark, too.
But you can't ignore Bodoglimt's goal threat. They score often in this competition.
And Spurs can concede at home, so an away goal is definitely possible, maybe likely.
I think so. It could be crucial for the tie overall.
Right. So considering all that, the Opta probability, the likely goals, we're predicting Tottenham 3-1 Bodoglimt.
Okay, 3-1. Where do the goals come from?
Thinking Solanke, obviously. Open play, or maybe a penalty. Bergvall, maybe a strike from distance where he creates one, and Kulusevski, perhaps cutting inside or a run.
Makes sense. And for bodoglimt?
Has to be Kasper Høgh, doesn't it? Clinical finish on a counter, maybe from a set piece, gets that vital away goal.
So Spurs win, but bodoglimt stay in the tie.
Exactly. The thinking is Spurs' attack and the home crowd just overwhelmed the weakened visitors for large parts. But Høgh finds a way through.
That away goal really could be a lifeline for them heading back home.
Absolutely. And just to stress again, those bodoglimt suspensions, especially Berg in midfield, that's massive.
Huge tactical advantage for Spurs in the middle.
Son's fitness is the big question mark for Spurs' attack. And that second leg.
It'll be tough in Norway. Could home record, players back from suspension, rested. Spurs really need that 2-goal cushion, ideally.
Yeah. Also, watch out for bodoglimt maybe picking up a few cards trying to cope.
Could happen. And, football's football. Always check the final team news.
Always. Okay, so recapping our deep dive. Expecting a Tottenham win, 3-1 feels about right for this first leg. Spurs attack at home versus a resilient but heavily depleted bodoglimt.
But that potential away goal keeps the tie very much alive.
Precisely. Which leads us to our final thought for you.
Yeah.
Thinking about bodoglimt's strength at home and the fact they'll have those suspended players back for the second leg, just how absolutely vital might that away goal prove to be for Tottenham if they want to reach that Europa League final?
Something to definitely ponder until we see how it all plays out in Norway.